Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. I wanted to finish out hour number one here talking a little Saints. Ross Jackson has a great piece up at louisianasports.net. I'm going to steal some of his statistics for this segment, but it gives a little bit of an idea as to why the Saints had as much success defensively as they did against Atlanta. The Saints started the year playing some pretty good defense. They played great defense against Carolina and Dallas to start, obviously, but they were functional in defense against Philly, and certainly they were against Kansas City, at least in terms of keeping points off the board. Kansas City went up and down the field, but they stopped them in the red zone. So you were off to a pretty good start defensively, and then all hell broke loose, and you didn't stop anybody for about a month, and that's when Dennis Allen got fired. Well, the first thing, or one of the first things that Darren Rizzi did when he took over was he made Joe Woods the defensive play caller, and then they made some adjustments with the staff. They moved Todd Grantham, and he became kind of an advisor defensively, and then they needed the defensive line to have some hands-on coaching with Grantham moving on. So they decided to go to their pass rush specialist to coach those guys. And they made some staff changes, but they also made some philosophical changes that I don't think Atlanta could have been prepared for. And Ross writes this on louisianasports.net. New Orleans is very blitz heavy and very man coverage heavy on third down. Against Atlanta, on 8 of 14 third down defensive snaps, the Saints went zone. And they only blitzed twice on third down of the 14 third downs. That is a complete abandonment of what the Saints had been, and certainly what Atlanta would have been prepared for, but that was Dennis Allen's MO. And I'm not saying that was the wrong thing for the Saints to do. I think it's great to bring pressure on third downs, but what you did was you took a game plan that Atlanta had installed, and you scrambled it because you didn't give him what they were looking for. You changed the picture on Kirk Cousins, and Atlanta really struggled with it. And the Saints were able to force turnovers and limit an offense that's got a lot of weapons and a veteran quarterback that's played pretty well. So that makes a lot of sense that the Saints would be able to catch someone off guard the first week after a coaching change. Now, you're going to look at a situation moving forward where teams now have seen that. And they know that while you still have those blitzes undoubtedly, because you're going to be running essentially the same defensive scheme, you have now shown you may change tendency. And teams will prepare accordingly. And that's what Darren Rizzi and Joe Woods and this staff have to figure out moving forward. It's the same thing we talked about with Clint Kubiak at the beginning of the season, where the Saints were cooking. We're going, all right, well, teams are going to adjust, and what do you do? And I don't know that we ever really truly got the answers to that because the Saints offense fell apart in terms of injuries. But the Saints defense is pretty healthy outside of corner, where you had a huge injury and you traded a corner away. But you're fairly healthy outside of corner. And you've got a staff that now has some tape out. And we'll see. I don't know that Jameis Winston and Cleveland are exactly the team that's going to expose it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We'll see. And then you've got a bye week after that. But it's going to be worth mentioning. And we talked all last week about that bump that you were going to get from a new coaching staff and a new philosophy and just a breath of fresh air. Plus, you've got these schematic changes that Atlanta wasn't really ready for. And it all kind of created this perfect recipe where the Saints were going to be able to win the football game on Sunday. And they certainly did. You look at them on third down, Atlanta was just 5 of 14 on third downs. Atlanta entered the week 7th in the league in third down conversions at nearly 50%. So you held them 5 for 14. That was great work. The question is, can you continue to build off that if you're New Orleans? I personally have some doubts about that because the backbone of your defense was your coverage ability, and now you've lost a good bit of that. But maybe Kool-Aid McKinstry and Alontae Taylor grow into high-level corners, and they can fill the shoes of Paulson Adebo and Marshawn Lattimore. That'd be great if that's the case. That's something you can build on for the rest of your team. But it feels like teams will start to figure some things out, and the Saints will have to continue to zig and zag to keep up with things. But I thought a great piece, very informative by Ross Jackson over at louisianasports.net, and I wanted to kind of point that out because it makes all the sense in the world. I didn't have access to the fact that that's what the Saints did, but Ross has some good numbers there. So Saints looking forward to Sunday's game against the Cleveland Browns. Jameis Winston's return to the Superdome. We talked with Sharif Ishak about that yesterday. I feel like Jameis is going to be greeted with a warm response, but then the Saints will try to confuse him. And my guess is they probably will, because Jameis throws a lot of interceptions when he plays a lot. And he threw a lot of interceptions last week, 3 of them. And I think the Saints can get their hands on a couple more balls coming up on Sunday. But Cleveland will have the template to see what the Saints looked like in week 1 under defensive play caller Joe Woods. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.